The largest retailer on earth just recalled about 188,000 packages. The bread was fine. The product was fine. It was the packaging. Let that sit for a second. If Walmart can get caught by the packaging, then the story most buyers tell themselves, our supplier has it handled, is not a plan. It's a hope wearing the costume of control. I'm going to show you why and exactly what to do about this. I'm David Marinac. I've spent 35 years in specialized packaging on both sides of the table as a buyer and a supplier. And I want to talk about something almost nobody in the industry says out loud. The person who buys the packaging and the person who eats the recall are almost never the same person. So the risk never gets connected to the decision. By the end of this video, you'll know how packaging actually triggers a recall, what one really costs, who's on the hook, and 6 questions you can ask this week to find out if you are exposed. Let's get into it. Here's what happened. But 188,000 packages of Great Value Hawaiian Rolls got recalled. Not because of the rolls, because the manufacturer found an oily, sticky substance on the food contact surface of the packaging, the part that touches the bread. Now, credit where credit is due. Walmart caught this upstream at wholesale distribution before it ever hit a store shelf. It was graded a mid-level recall. Consumers were never exposed. Their system actually worked. And that's exactly why I'm telling you about it. This is Walmart, the most sophisticated retail supply chain that has ever existed. More supplier controls, more audits, more leverage over vendors than any company in history. And a direct packaging defect still made it far enough down the line to become a recall on 188,000 units. If it can happen here, the comfortable story falls apart. Scale did not prevent this. A long supplier relationship didn't prevent it either. Attention did. Somebody actually looked. And this is not a one-off. Let's look at the pattern. Earlier this month, the Consumer Product Safety Commission posted a run of recalls that had nothing to do with products that stopped working. Medicated wipes, coin batteries, nasal spray, iron supplements, baby oil. In the case after case, the product inside was fine. The closure was not child resistant when federal law had said it had to be. That was the recall. The package, not the product. That's the whole part people miss. A huge share of recalls are packaging failures. The thing that fails is the package while the product sits there working properly. There are basically 4 ways this can happen. Number 1, the closure that was supposed to be child resistant was not. Number 2, the label that missed an allergen and turned a food into a health hazard. Number 3, the packaging surface that contaminated what it touched. That's the Walmart one. And number 4, the mix-up, the right product in the wrong package or the wrong product in the right one. Not one of those is the product's fault. Every one of them is a recall. And here's the uncomfortable part. The closure and the label, the 2 things most likely to put your brand in a recall notice, are the exact 2 things that most buyers treat as commodity and stop thinking about the second price is agreed. So let's talk about what a recall actually costs, because that number is going to surprise you. The recalled inventory is the smallest cost in the room. Hear that? The inventory is the smallest cost, almost a rounding error. Industry research on food recalls puts the average cost near $10 million. And that's just direct work. Notifying, retrieving, disposing, answering the regulator. The full hit usually runs 3 to 5 times that. Once you add the business that's lost, the contracts that walked, the lawyers, and the insurance that got expensive the next day. More than half the companies in that research reported total damage well over $10 million. Roughly 1 in 20 crossed $100 million. And one study found a serious recall erased around $109 million in shareholder value inside 5 trading days. Now put that next to the savings. Excuse me, you negotiated a few cents off a closure. Real money. maybe tens of thousands of dollars. And the thing it was quietly betting against starts in the seven figures before a single lawyer is retained. Now, again, let me say that again. The thing he was actually quietly betting against starts now in the seven figures. That's not savings, that's a bet. A bet nobody named out loud that your cheapest packaging decision will never be the one that fails. Now, you might be thinking, that's on my supplier. Look at how these recalls you actually get filed, and that comfort will disappear. In that same batch, a product on a retailer's own brand got recalled. A separate contract packager made it. Did not matter. The brand's name was on the hook. So the brand's name went to the notice. The brand refunded the customers. The brand's shelf space was the one at risk. You can outsource the manufacturing. You cannot outsource the liability that follows your name. And that cuts the other way as well. If the risk follows your name, then your spec, your certification requirements, and your supplier contracts are where the risk actually gets controlled. If compliance is not written into what you buy, you are carrying a risk you never priced out. Talk to your counsel about how the liability is split in your agreements, because the default is rarely in your favor. So why does nobody frame it this way to the person, the CEO at the top? Because of where packaging gets decided. It's bought 3 levels down from a CEO on price against cost target. And it's recalled at the very top, in a room where the cost target does not exist, and the recall notice is the only thing on the table. The person negotiating the closure is optimizing a line item. The person who eats the recall is running a company. They're almost never the same person. And by the time the decision travels from one to another, nobody remembers it was the same decision. So let me say the thing plainly. Packaging is not an expense to be minimized. On anything that can poison a child, mislabel an allergen, or contaminate a product, packaging is insurance. The premium is trivial. The claim is not. Here's what to do about it. You do not wait for the FDA or the CPSC to audit your packaging. You audit it first. There's 6 checks. 1, inventory every product that could trigger a child-resistant or labeling requirement. 2, confirm you actually hold current certification and test records for each child-resistant closure. 3, audit your labels for accuracy, allergens first. 4, verify your food contact materials that they meet the standard. 5, require documentation from every packaging supplier instead of assuming it exists. 6, run a mock recall on paper, a mock recall, and find out fast how you actually locate and pull the affected lot. If you cannot answer these 6 today, that is not a reason to panic. It's a reason to build the file before anybody else opens it for you. Look, it was never about price. It was about which line on your P&L you're willing to gamble on and whether anyone told you the odds before you placed the bet. If you want to pressure test your own packaging, I built a packaging recall exposure audit. It's 6 steps in a form you can work through with your team. The link is in the description. And if you run a packaging company and would rather be the source buyers trust on this rather than the cheapest quote in the box, that's the work that we do. Please check their other videos and playlists. We're one of the few people at all that talk the truth about the packaging industry, buyers and sellers, and all the things that could go wrong. Like I said, we have plenty of art and plenty of videos and playlists, so check those out as well. Please subscribe, and please share this with anybody. It'll help. Thanks.